Alright, so what we have here is the X-Coaster Death Trooper helmet. I paid approximately $140 for this thing. Uh, Unfortunately, I do already have a drawback before even really digging into this thing, and that is that it did come damaged. The packaging inside of the box, fantastic. The box was not damaged in any way, shape, or form. There was a nice plastic bag around it, and it did come with a plentiful amount of foam inside of the packaging. Unfortunately, as we can see right there, came damaged already, and that crack leads all the way down through to the bottom of the helmet. So, a little bit of a knock right at the start. Overall quality of the build, it's for the price point, it's pretty decent. It's nothing tremendous. It's not a $600 helmet where you're getting screen accurate, all electronics, voice modulator, all that fun stuff. But for what I paid, I don't think it's terrible. Could be a little bit cheaper compared to the build quality on like the Black Series helmets. They are a little bit nicer. They do come with a little bit jankier foam padding on. In my personal opinion, they could come with nicer padding, but that's a separate matter. So let's dig into it. Overall, the exterior, top of the helmet, is relatively bumpy. It's not very flat. It's not very smooth. The visor looks pretty nice. It is just a piece of tinted plastic. Right here, there is a hole for electronics. Unfortunately, they did not paint inside that hole. For what reason, I couldn't tell you. If you can see, you can actually see through some of the venting on this thing, so you can breathe pretty nicely in this. You can see my hand right there. They also did the same on the sides. I don't know if you can see through that. It's kind of shiny. Same on that side, and then right outside, these little vents are also cut out. So that's very nice. Not a whole lot of difficulty breathing in this thing when you're wearing it. It's pretty decent. On the rest of the exterior, on the back side, I'm sure you can see it right there. They do actually imprint their logo. I'm not a big fan of that. Don't do it on the exterior. Paint quality isn't terrible. It could have been a shinier sheen, but overall, I'd have to go back and watch the movie, but overall I think the Death Troopers are supposed to have a little bit of a matte color to them. So nothing too terrible there. Let's see. So material, I can tell you by looking in that. Sorry, one last thing. These are not painted. That is a sticker. It could have been painted. Would be a little bit nicer, but you can actually see that is just a sticker. So let's get into material of the build. It is what appears to be a fiberglass helmet. It does have a little bit of heft to it. It's not insanely heavy. It's not going to weigh your head down. If we look inside there, you can actually see some of that fiberglass material that hasn't made it or I guess it hasn't gotten any of the glue on it, so you can actually still see the fiberglass mesh. Let's pop around to the interior here. So, not all the interior got paint, unfortunately. But the good part is there is a ton of padding on the inside of this thing, so you can wear it comfortably. You have cheek padding on both sides, as well as a pretty decent amount of helmet padding on top. did leave, and this is just a little thing that bothers me, the electronics right there were left loose. That should have been glued to the inside of the helmet. Not great. Another thing is the actual visor itself was never trimmed. They just slapped a piece of tinted plastic in there and called it good enough. I'm not a fan of that because that piece of plastic actually goes all the way up and underneath some of the padding for the top of the head, and it is about, I want to say like 1.25 inches of just untrimmed plastic inside the helmet. It doesn't need to be there. It could have been trimmed down. Another thing is when they glued that in there, you can see underneath the left eye, there's just a glob of just straight up glue. So overall, I can't tell you about the electronics on it because honestly, the electronics don't work. I'm assuming it's probably a dead battery, but let's see. It's supposed to be for that little light right there. It does absolutely nothing. Overall, for $140, it's not terrible. Is it fantastic? No. Are there flaws? Tons. Would I buy it again if I'm going to like a 501st or any kind of convention? No, I wouldn't wear one of these. Am I gonna stick it on my wall and is it gonna look cool as hell? Yeah, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do about the damage portion. But overall, is it terrible? No. Is it the greatest thing ever? Also no. Overall, I'd say it's like a 6.5 out of 10. It's workable. I'm gonna stick it on my wall. It's gonna look fantastic. No one's ever gonna look at it that closely. Is it quite to the build quality of Black Series helmets? Also no. It's not quite up there. I think it should be probably $90 helmet. If I was going to buy another one, I wouldn't spend more than $100 on it. But that's just because of the quality that I've seen here. So that's it. That's all for my review. You guys have a good one.